At this point, it should surprise absolutely nobody that I have some 3D printers. I've been featuring them in what seems like almost half my videos lately. But what I haven't had until recently is a 3D printing pen. I picked this up on Amazon for 40 bucks. In addition to a cord and a couple samples of material, it comes with this neat little stand. Although I would not recommend using it while the tip is hot at all. If you haven't seen one of these 3D printing pens in action, here's how it works. You plug in power to that hole here, you put regular 3D printing filament 1.7 millimeter in the other hole right next to it, you choose the temperature on here, and note it will be about 40-ish degrees lower than what you have on there. This controls the speed at which it comes out. It's just a setting on here. For filament to come out and start printing, you click that button. It's a toggle on-off. And then when you're done, you hold this button for 3 seconds and it pulls all the material back out. Pretty simple. If you haven't noticed already, in the background I have this green filament holder that I printed some time ago. You can go check out that video. Link is in the top right corner. Now the whole reason for printing this green thing is so that I could take all the leftover scraps when I don't have much material left. This is only about 1 or 2 layers before it gets to the center of the spool, so that I can make stuff or potentially see if I could use this for welding. So before I show you what I've done so far, let's keep in mind that I do not have fine motor skills at all. My handwriting is barely readable, even by myself. I have fractured growth plates in both my wrists from playing hockey in the neighborhood with the other kids. So this is something that my 3D printer has made. And the first thing I have tried doing with this 3D printing pen is something highly useful. Horse armor. Now, if we take a look at how well it actually turned out, it's not so bad. I mean, this was rough to begin with, but this roughness here on the armor is just down to me not having good fine motor control and not being able to get the movement of the pen super steady. But you can very clearly see that I was going this direction here, and then for a little bit between the eyes I was trying to go like that, then did a little bit more vertical here. Overall, for a first attempt, I'd say it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it does prove a point that a 3D printing pen would be good for just printing something in one color, such as this. You could use a brown or more of a tan color for a horse if you so desired. And then if you wanted to print armor, you could do that without having to design it on a computer first. So if you're trying to make 3D prints for resale and you're doing something like miniatures or just 3D printed characters that are totally not copyrighted, then what you could do is pick up a $40 pen and easily make that back with adding some color accents if you only have a single color 3D printer. Now, when I was printing these horsehead prototypes, you can see that the layers weren't really working out so well. There's lots of gaps even in here. In fact, even the bottom came off of this. So something else I was wondering is, can I take this 3D printing pen and use it to essentially weld 2 pieces together, especially if I have poor layer adhesion and my model breaks. And I've tested that with a couple pieces of complete 3D printing scrap. So if we take a look at this little welding I did here, the first layer looked great, but then I went on and put it on a little thick. As you can see, it's about 2 or 3 layers thick of welds here. And I used the term welding loosely because really this is just melted plastic. But the real question is, of course, how strong is this actually? So I'm going to let the camera go back to autofocus and we'll see if I can't break this off. So it's already stronger than just this single layer of brim, which is good to know. Dang. So I tried pushing on it like this, and if we take a look at it, the welds held up, and it broke this 2 or 3 layers of actual printed stuff, which is pretty cool. So next up, I'm going to see if I can pull it off this way. Nope, just damaged this stuff that was all printed together. Now, I really do want to break this, so I'm going to be using the edge of the table here. Okay then. It broke it across these layers, multiple layers, rather than here on the welds. Interesting. So then, final thoughts and conclusion on this $40 3D printing pen I picked up. If you're looking to add some accents to a model and you only have a single color printer, or you're trying to do 3 colors with a 2-color printer, you can, assuming you have good hand-eye coordination of course and you didn't play hockey, then you can absolutely go back and add stuff. Or if you're trying to make it look like some kind of a fabric or something with a weave to it, then yeah, it's totally possible. If you're looking to use a 3D printing pen to weld 2 large pieces together when aesthetics don't super matter, like if you're trying to 3D print something for automotive applications like I did over here in this video, then yeah, you can absolutely do that too. And of course, a last thing you can use one of these 3D printing pens for, at least the last thing I thought of, is you can try to draw something or print something from scratch. Now, as we've seen from this, even when I'm just going back and forth along something that exists already, and I can essentially just be tracing.
I'm already tracing.
No, not that. Now, something I have seen online is where people will do 3D Pictionary. It's been done on channel Superfun before, and one of the mistakes they made is that they were trying to essentially draw stick figures. 3D printing Pictionary, if done more like a 3D printer, where you have multiple layers, and yes, just like ogres too, then you can use a 3D printing pen to do that. But do note that everything will be in one color, and you're going to be relying on people's drawing abilities in 3 dimensions, and of course, it is not fast. 3D printing this horse armor, which is only about, I'd say 5 centimeters this way, and 1.5 centimeters that way, that took me a few minutes. Less than 10, but more than 3. I wasn't really keeping track. So if you want to do 3D printer Pictionary, it's basically going to come down who can draw their thing in the least amount of layers without it collapsing. Which could be fun, but I wouldn't necessarily pick up a $40 3D printing pen for something that'll be fun once or twice with a group of friends. After a couple times, if they're not like actual good artists who can draw well, the novelty is going to wear off quickly. But all in all, I highly recommend anyone who has multiple 3D printers like I do, pick up a tool like this. It's not so much a kid's toy or so much of an instrument to 3D print by hand. It really is a tool, in my opinion, that greatly enhances what you can do with existing 3D printers. If you liked this video, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're interested in some more of my 3D printer content, then make sure to check out some of these videos over here.